So let's move on. Number 3, dialogue. This is a big one. So dialogue, character slugs, that's sort of the first one. You can begin dialogue by indicating who's doing the talking. So this is done with a character slug. It's always uppercased and set either center or slightly off center to the left of the page. So it's basically when you introduce a character, capitalize their name. If you have, it's best to always refer to the character by just one name. So for example, if you've got a character named Ralph Finnegan, you should just slug him either Ralph or Finnegan, but don't use first and last names. That gets sort of annoying again, and you're trying to be as efficient as possible. Next one is dialogue blocks. Your dialogue should always be in solid, unbroken blocks, regardless of the lengths. Don't break up long dialogues into separate paragraphs. Keep it all one. It really helps with the flow of the read. Next one is dialects and foreign languages. So you may or may not use this one. And some characters necessarily, or they need to speak in accents or dialects, but you don't need to reflect that in the way that you write. It's hard to give an example, but you don't want to write with a southern accent or write Ebonics or anything like that. Even you can set that up at the beginning in the description, but actually saying that in the text is very annoying. So another one, character slug extensions. So an extension is a special type of parenthetical that tells the reader where the voice is coming from. The most common of these, I guess, are voiceovers or OS, off-screen. So other extensions include on TV, on screen. An extension goes for the same line as a character slug, as opposed to like a directive parenthetical, which goes below it. So it's basically Jack in parentheses OS, which is saying Jack from off screen. So that helped to really say where a character is talking from, or where the dialogue is coming from. So that again is just sort of another little trick that helps you engage the reader. And the last one for dialogue here is double dashes and ellipsis. Characters often speak in incomplete sentences, which is obvious, or their dialogue is interrupted by someone else. So in these cases, you need to either use double dashes or ellipses. It's important to know the difference between these devices and how to really structure them properly. So the double dash is usually used when dialogue is interrupted. You should also use double dash when resuming dialogue in mid-sentence. So on the other hand, the ellipsis is normally used when a person simply stops in mid-sentence, or the dialogue sort of just dribbles away. So an ellipsis is really effective when transitioning from sort of a flashback or a dream sequence or fantasy scene. And that's it for dialogue. Let's see, optical transitions. So the last one, optical transitions, is arguably the least important tool of the screenwriter's trade. And it just sort of, this one, these really tell the director how you envision one scene changing from another. So, and they should be used very sparingly because you don't want to sort of tread on the director's turf. So things as obvious as fade in and fade out, those are what you're going to want to do to bookmark individual scenes, the top of your screenplay, the end of your screenplay. Another common one is cut to. Also can be referred to as smash cut to. So you see we got cut to and smash cut to. I put them in two different bullet points. They're essentially the same thing. Smash cut to is, if something is much more abrupt, it's more dramatic. It can usually be accompanied with a loud sound effect, such as a gunshot or crash or explosion. And then the last one is dissolve to. So that indicates that one scene is fading out at the same time that another one is fading in. So you can those are pretty self-explanatory, and again, those are sort of the least important of the four here. So, although the guidelines here contained are not gospel, all writers, you definitely need to develop your own individual style. But the whole point is to how you can best communicate your vision to the readers. So no studio is going to reject a screenplay because you're missing one of these, or you have too many fade-ins, few smash cuts. But you really need to adhere to these. It makes the reading much more enjoyable, and that's sort of the whole point. Once you have an idea of what your screenplay is, and if you can't put it down on page, you can't communicate it to the reader, then your screenplay unfortunately is going to be doomed. So I've got a free PDF report that has all these and much more, all the individual tricks. It's got some examples. It's about, I think, about 90 some pages long. So head on over to my website, give me your name, email, and I'll email it off to you. So good luck and keep up the writing. Thanks.